Folks, please join me in welcoming back to the stage the author and head honcho behind the historic House File 517, Representative Matt Windschitl.
Wow. Thank you, Pete, IFC, everyone out there, thank you. I was not expecting the award. Barry was very coy about it. My wife said nothing. Thank you, honey, for being so adamant about wanting to come today when I told you it was going to be a 6-hour round trip. Now I know why. Thank you. Look, folks, when I started in the legislature 11 years ago, Second Amendment talk was not the norm. When we go into a legislative session, it was kind of an afterthought. Maybe we might do something, maybe we won't. At that time, we still had a May issue system. As Barry talked about, in 2010, we moved to shall issue. In 2007, back when I first took office, to right now, we have flipped it from Second Amendment virtues not even being talked about by the legislature, to now, right before we go into session, you've actually got legislators that will call me, call Barry, call other members of IFC and say, hey, what's on the agenda for this coming year? Because we want to know how we can advance the Highlands freedoms even more. We've completely changed the dynamic down there, and that is what has led to the success of House File 517 and other successes that we're going to have in the future. Now, you got a great lineup of speakers here, so I'm not going to take a lot more time, but I do need to do this. I get a lot of praise for what happened with 517. I'm just one member of the legislature. It took the majority parties in both the House and Senate to be able to pass this. So my fellow colleagues deserve credit in this as well. For the midnight phone calls, Barry, stand up. Michael, for all the times I've come out to your house in Baxter because you had to chew my ear about something, stand up. Richard, for those long conversations we've had out in the rotunda, stand up. John, for all those times that you've been angry with me, we've been on the phone and you've just been so frustrated that you had to go take blood pressure medication, but we figured it out, stand up. Folks, there's a lot more members of IFC. There's a lot of other people that are behind the scenes. But when it comes to making legislation happen, it's guys like this. It's the phone calls that they answer at midnight when I'm going, hey, I can't figure this out because my colleagues don't want to do X. And Barry tells me, stay the course. They'll come around. So when Richard will pull out members of the lobby or pull out members of the legislature and have those conversations to explain to them the implicit virtues in what we're trying to do, and then those members come back to me and say, yeah, that Richard guy, man, he's long-winded, but he sure convinced me. It's the phone calls that Michael makes and emails that he writes to members of leadership. It's the conversations that John has had from the onset when we passed shall issue. Folks, these guys, IFC, you, as members of the great state of Iowa, deserve the credit for the successes we've had. So thank you, gentlemen. You've made this possible and future advancements that we're going to have. Thank you. Now, when Barry told me I'd have about 3 minutes, I said, great, I'm not long-winded. I said, what do you want me to talk about? He said, well, I don't know, just figure something out. I said, great, I'll talk about the constitutional amendment, the right to keep and bear arms amendment. Lo and behold, he took all the talking points on it, so I'll just leave it with this. That is the single most important thing that we can pass this next legislative session. There are a lot of other issues out there that, yes, we absolutely want to address and deal with, and hopefully we can get momentum behind them. But if we don't pass that constitutional amendment for the state of Iowa in this next legislative session, that puts us down the road about another 5 to 6 years. We've got to get that passed this next General Assembly. What that's going to take is for folks like you to contact your local legislators and ask them about it. What are you doing with that constitutional amendment? Is it moving forward? It's one thing for me to go talk to my fellow legislators and say, hey, this is what the folks out there in the community are saying. They take that with a grain of salt. It's another thing when they hear from you in their own backyard, at their local forums, or through an email, or by a phone call. That motivates legislators when they know they've got people asking them about it back home. The amendment's already been filed. It's HJR 13. It's under my name. It's in the House Judiciary Committee. We could move that forward at the beginning of session and get that put through and then move it on to the next General Assembly. But it's going to take your effort. It's exactly what Barry said. So folks, I look forward to the rest of the speeches. Thank you for the opportunity. God bless this great state of Iowa.